Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. How come y'all didn't tell me everything was closed today? Everything's closed. I couldn't believe it. Okay, so there's New Year's Day, and then there's New Year's Day observed. So not everything is closed. The essentials are open, but there's enough things closed. I was shocked. So I woke up early today to go run some errands, and it just didn't work out. But that's okay. Nothing's so important. Let me say hello to a few people. Lydia Washington, Church Nelly. Let's see, Elena 2012, and who else? Maureen, Danny N, and Gail Anita, Cynthia Thorpe. Yes, thank you, Cynthia. Happy New Year to you too. And Annie Bullard wants to say hi to a few people. Hello, Annie. And Carol Lunn is here. Hello to you too, Carol. Thank you so much for being here. Berta Sanchez, Audrey Teschner, yes. Colorless, and Elaine Parker, Light Side of the Moon, Kim Peaches, hello. Black Queen, Noreen Lovelock, and how about Emerald Derrick? Yes. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Sherry Ware. Hello. Vetty. All right. So I'm going to just say hello to everyone else. Susie Q. Uh, Joan Garcia. Veronica Quick. And Sherry Ware. I did say that, right? Okay. I'm going to scroll all the way to the last one. Connie Balmer. Hey, Connie Balmer. Olivia Harris, Mackenzie. All right, so shall we get started then? All right, so, hi, Mad World, Annie Bennett. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. Yesterday, we were having a bit of a conversation about whether or not there would be an interview with 60 Minutes. Well, and it wasn't so much that everybody doubted that would happen. No, no. But I said last night, I said, well, I'm leaning toward, yes, there's likely to be an interview. And I thought for sure Tom Bradby, who has been friends with Prince Harry and the Duchess of Sussex, you know, later on, of course. And then, of course, the Anderson Cooper. And the reason why I said that was because those just seem like two people with enough prestige, enough gravitas, that it just made sense. Plus, the other thing was I said they will probably start advertising maybe even as soon as tonight. And what happened? In the wee hours of the morning, they started dropping promos. I mean, they would just have to. It's not like I'm a psychic or something, but they would just have to. It just made sense. So, um, I kind of thought that was going to happen, and it did. So I may not get anything else. Oh man, I may not figure out anything else for the rest of 2023, but please let me have that one because I was looking at the timing and I just thought it made sense. So that was all. But okay, haven't gotten that out the way. Oh man, haven't gotten that out the way. I'm glad it happened. Um, you got to promote a book, right? And I feel safer with the likes of Anderson Cooper and of course Tom Bradby. So, um really I guess kind of, well, I won't say that these promos are so intense, but they definitely capture the imagination. So I can't wait to see it. Lottie, I don't think so. I don't think so. Harry's there to promote a book. So it's not likely that he'll get paid for these interviews. It's not like the people, appearing for, say, Good Morning Britain. Uh, oh no, maybe I don't know if they get paid for that or not, but I know some shows do pay. Like for instance, if someone shows up on the Pierce Morgan show, likely they're going to get paid. There's a promotional fee. There's things that they get, a little quid pro quo, and all that kind of stuff. There's things they get for that, but I really doubt that Harry is being compensated. This is just a typical book promotional that he's doing right now, and that's about it. So let me see. Yeah, Annie Bennett, I don't trust ITV either. Um, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of consideration with the editing process, and let's hope they get that right. Let's see. But again, I trust Tom Bradby. I think he's a honest broker. So if he has anything to do with it, I think he will, use whatever influence that he has over the editorial process to make sure that they get it right. But yeah, that is the only place where I could anticipate problems. Is it really depends on how they edit things. Um, and of course, even without the use of, splicing the film or tape or whatever, um, there's also the ability to do those voiceovers. And yeah, so, but I think it's going to be okay. Um, I got a good feeling about it. Oh, thank you so much, Mario Apanya. Happy New Year 2023, Barron and Sussex supporters worldwide. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for supporting Royal Sussex. All right, Joanne Baker. All right, so I am going to move it along here. Let's see. Oh, Joanne Baker says Tom Bradby has bosses, and ITV has not been kind to Harry and Meghan. Yeah, that is very true. Hi, Marion Owens. Yeah. Well, it that's the network where Tom Bradby works, right? So um, you got to take the good with the bad. And not all American networks have been so kind to the Sussexes. So better 60 Minutes US than 60 Minutes Australia. And you guys, I have said so many times that it is shocking for me the amount of, I guess, slights against the Sussexes from 60 Minutes Australia in comparison to 60 Minutes US, which has, been one of the best television shows ever. As a matter of fact, 60 Minutes is probably well, okay, it's the longest running news magazine show in American history. It is one of the most highly rated television shows in American history. So, 60 Minutes, I think they've been around for at least what, 55 years or more. So they've been around. 60 Minutes in the US is like top drawer. It's like the New York Times of television news magazines, and they usually get it right, which is why you see segments with Anderson Cooper, with Oprah Winfrey. And just a reminder for you guys that are not Americans, Anderson Cooper was a war correspondent. Um, Anderson Cooper used to throw himself into harm's way routinely as a reporter. So he wasn't just behind the desk because his mother is Gloria Vanderbilt. Anderson Cooper has a lot in common with Prince Harry, I think, where that's concerned. Anderson actually, I believe he had an older brother that was a favorite, perhaps. I don't remember whether or not he was a favorite, but he had a older brother that passed away some time ago. So Anderson Cooper is certainly nobody's coward. and he's, nobody's, I guess, lackadaisical kind of aloof person. He's definitely, um, you know, earned his position as being a very trusted news person. So um, let that sink in. All right. So Lex says, "Oh my goodness, you guys have a lot to say." Oh man, I see the comments are coming fast and furious. Oh, and I'm sorry, it's not Legs. It's Shelly L says, no reputable news program pays for interviews. Very, very good point. They may pull out for transportation. I'm sorry, may put out for transportation, but that's about it. And maybe some snacks like Ritz crackers and some water. Exactly. I mean, they have per diems, and they'll put you in a nice hotel, limousine service. They have a producer, like an intern, pretty much follow you around until the interview is over with, and then off to the airport you go. And that's pretty much how they do it on American television. It's very rare that, especially a show like 60 Minutes, they don't pay for stuff like that. Um, but some of the kind of gossipy shows, they definitely will pay for access, but not 60 Minutes. Thank you so much for making that very clear, Shelly Ellen. Thank you so much for the super chat, and happy new year to you. Thank you so much. Elaine Parker, thank you for the super chat, and happy new year to you again. And thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Thank you for being here. Greatly appreciate it. All right. And let's see. Florence Mumba says, it's always important to try to make peace with family for one's peace of mind. Harry and Meghan have been through a lot of emotional injury, so they need to process their pain to move on. Exactly. I think, Florence, as they used to say back in the civil rights days, no justice, no peace. So I believe Harry has a strategy to make things right, but they cannot move on if the royal family is continuing to brief against them. Hopefully, calling them out will change their minds about how effective this is. Harry said that he and William both promised one another that they would not brief against each other. So, in order to process and move on, they have to stop briefing. They have to. They have to stop telling the Sussexes to be quiet now, or there's enough now, go away now. You can't do that if you're whining and dining and even hiring people from within the tabloid news industry. You cannot move on if the tabloids are still attacking you. There is something the royal family can do about it. There is plenty they can do about it. And thus far, they have chosen to step back and just watch them destroy the Sussexes, or at least try to. That has been the way that the royal family has dealt with things. Is, oh well, at least they're not messing with me. And so they just step back and allow them to go after Harry and Meghan unabated, without any hesitation. Everybody just continues to do as they choose. um, the biggest part of this problem comes from Kensington Palace. I'm convinced of that. It wasn't Clarence House, it wasn't Buckingham Palace, although I'm sure they had their roles. But the worst of it comes from Kensington Palace. And unless they want to make things right, they shall never have a day's peace. They're just not, because this is so much bigger than the Sussexes. This is so much bigger than the Sussexes. This has been the way the media, in particular, the tabloid media, the British tabloid media, this has been the way they have operated for decades, and no one has effectively stood up against them. At least no one until Harry and Meghan decided that they were not going to run. They're going to stay and fight their corner. And that's why we're here as the Sussex squad. We're here to help project that fairness, to help them fight their corner, to call out people who have decided that they would rather go to the dark side, that they would rather play with Satan than to be honest brokers. There's plenty of things that they could report on, but of course, the negativity is what sells. And so, for that reason, the Sussexes have to fight their corner, because if they don't, it's only going to get worse. It is only going to get worse. Those months that the Sussexes um, suffered at the Nottingham Cottage, it was the Frogmore Cottage. Those months that they suffered there, when Meghan was barely seen for 5 months, and the attacks were relentless. So there's no way this just stops. They didn't stop then, and she was pregnant with Archie. They didn't care about the stress. They didn't care about the pain. They didn't care about the anguish. They didn't care about Doria. They didn't care about anybody. All they were focused on is to do as much harm as possible. And they were hoping that people would just accept it. If Diana would have had this kind of input, of course, there was no social media, but if Diana would have had this kind of input, just imagine how much better things would have gone for her. But she didn't have that. She had no one that she can trust near her up until the last minutes. So that's oh man. I mean, I think about that constantly, how terrible things must have been for Diana, and how sad it was that a lot of people didn't even know how horrible things were, or how involved the media was with her death. Most people just did not know. Carolyn Tubbs, thank you for 8 months of membership. And thank you so much for being here today. Carolyn says at some point, Harry and Meghan will have to answer what they consider hard and uncomfortable questions. I'm sure they could. Does it matter who's asking the question? Yeah, it matters. It definitely matters. Because, as we just said, it also uh, makes a difference how they edit the interview. So it's one thing to have someone ask you a hard question, but editing and voiceovers with these types of productions can set a completely different mood. It would be one thing if there was just a camera setup and there was, just a straight conversation, but that's not the case. I guarantee you, there will be some license taken with both of these interviews, and whether or not it portrays Harry's conversation in a positive or a negative way, or even an informative way, really is up to ITV and 60 Minutes. So, yeah, it does matter. And as for the hard questions, as Megan said, as long as it's fair, as long as it's fair, but don't tinker around with the editing process to try to make them look bad. So that's my only concern. Sure, ask the hard questions, but don't edit things in a way that it is more damaging than it could be. So, yeah, that is very important. So I'll be looking out for that myself. But thank you so much again for your membership. All right. So, oh man, I am scrolling so much. I'm not sure where I am right now. I actually read that off the other screen, so I know that there is a couple of Okay, I got that. I got that. Give me just 1 second. Let me scroll. All right. Did not want to miss that. There you go. There's a super chat. Baron, thanks so much for bringing us all together without judgment. Here's so much love and respect. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Audrey Teschner. And thank you for being a part of this. The chats and the comments are so important to the channel. So even if, you guys that have never made a contribution, you guys that just listen silently and never enter the chats or the comments, thank you so much for being here. And of course, that helps the algorithm that you are here, that you do hit that like button, that you are subscribed to the channel, I hope. And all of that is one of the greater parts of the success of all of the Sussex friendly platforms, is that there is some engagement to some degree or another. The more often, the better. So thank you so much. And thank you, Audrey Teschner, for your super chat. Okay. Wow. There's a lot. Oh, my goodness. There's a lot here. Okay. Let me take this away and go back there. So, this is what we saw first. Anderson Cooper and Prince Harry walking through a garden. I don't suspect that this is the Sussex house, the stately, palatial, opulent, picturesque Sussex manor. They have many properties around um, Santa Barbara, around the greater Los Angeles area, that are up for sale. And they often rent those spaces out for television productions, music videos. You can rent them hourly. You can rent them as even an Airbnb. So it's not unusual that they would use one of those properties. It's just so much easier for everyone, and it's less disruptive than trying to go to someone's house. And of course, it limits the amount of people, on the property that are just there for that day. So, I mean, of course, the camera crew and such. So, not that they cannot be trusted, but I just think it works out better that way. And of course, Harry looks absolutely casual chic. Um, and I tell you, it's you could tell California agrees with him. From the time he met Megan, that he gave up smoking, um, that he rarely, if ever, drinks. And I think he lost about 20 pounds. Um, Life is just so much healthier for him. And of course, he's away from Narnia. Harry himself said that he would rather be in a field of battle than back in London. He said there were so many times when he would go back to the UK where he felt his stomach just drop. And it wasn't just because of the UK, it was because of the institution. It was because of the institution, not because of home, but because of the institution. And there were so many things about it that just didn't set right with him. I mean, imagine he holds them responsible for his mother's death. No individual in particular, but the institution, but the tabloid media. So that's a lot to ponder about as you're, on your way home. And then, of course, because of your uh, family obligations, you have to deal with those people, including the royal rota that comes with it. Darnell Rowland says, yes, we are here to stand for Harry and Meghan through all the hatred in the UK as well, the evil dark monarchy, as well as the men in gray suits, and William and Kate for all the hurt they caused. Yeah, yeah, I do believe that there is a lot of pain that was inflicted at the Kensington Palace. I'm just so sure about that. Hello, Legs. Legs says, oh, that was for someone else? All right, sorry about that. Okay, and Lottie says, I believe Camilla is the ringleader in this fight. You see, she had no respect for Diana. Now she's doing the same thing to Harry. Um, yeah, she definitely, especially when you consider that Christmas party and the people on the guest list, she definitely has a hand in on things more than we ever could have, given her credit for. She has had a hand in on a lot of dodgy stuff when it comes to that family. And of course, she has a great deal of influence over Charles. That's the one thing that we cannot overlook is people are constantly trying to create this narrative where the Duchess of Sussex has this influence over Harry. I don't think it's exactly what I don't believe it's exactly what they say it is. Um, Harry is his own person, as we have discovered again and again. But Charles, I would say he is more apt to be subject to suggestion. After all, Charles married a teenage virgin at the request of his parents because of his sense of obligation. He married a teenage virgin that he obviously did not love, whatever love is, or whatever love means. He did not love her. He was not in love with her. He was in love with the idea of fulfilling an obligation. And so, where that's concerned, um, Charles obviously is quite easily influenced by outsiders and probably has been his entire life. A lot of the royals, a lot of the royals are so dependent upon the men in gray suits or whatever courtiers that follow them about. They are very dependent upon them to agree with them or to tell them what to do. As Harry said, which is so heartbreaking, his grandmother that he respects so much sat idly by and just taking in all of this yelling from William and lies coming from Charles at the Sandringham summit, and she had nothing to say. She just took it all in, and then by the time he stepped away and they used their influence, this is a 94-year-old woman, a 94-year-old woman with the heir to the throne and the future Prince of Wales, William. Um, this is the people that were in that room. Not to mention, there were likely some courtiers there. But whatever the case is, that's a lot to put on someone 94 years old who may have just found out that they were terminally ill. That's a lot. So, oh man, there's a lot to think about there. Okay, so moving on. Okay. All right, so this is when we first got the clue. Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen talking about 60 Minutes. I'm going to be watching the one on the 9th, which I think that is the wrong date. I think it's actually the 8th. Let me double check that on the calendar. Okay, so yes, it's on the 8th. All right, so he said he's going to watch the one, let's just say the 8th. And then he goes, shh. And so Anderson Cooper started looking a bit squirrely when he said that because, well, it wasn't time for that disclosure, but eventually it did come out. And, this was New Year's Eve, of course. So that was Sunday night when Andy Cohen let the cat out the bag. And then, of course, we talked about it Sunday afternoon. And so of course, we started leaning in that direction. Yes, it is going to happen. And of course, now is the time. It is going to happen. So that's an affirmative, cleared for takeoff, and I will be there to watch. Let's see. Nuthamando says William and Kate clearly are jealous of Harry and Meghan. William is such a lazy, selfish coward who can't stand up for anything. Hence, he failed to even protect his brother and belittled his mother. Yes, he did. He did. He threw his mother under the bus, so to speak, by insisting that she was made paranoid and that she somehow was tricked into giving the interview. Okay, maybe they did trick her into giving the interview, but she said what she said. She meant what she said. She did not, nobody put words in her mouth. Nobody put words in Princess Diana's mouth. She said exactly what she meant. Those were her words and nobody else's. And so William was given those talking points so that he might go out there and sow seeds of doubt that his mother was in her right mind. I mean, he literally did the work for the tabloid. I don't know how he got that speech. I don't know who gave him that speech or, why he would decide that it was a good idea. And then, of course, follow up by saying, and no one should see that documentary again. It should be locked away for all eternity. Why are you trying to silence your own mother? He knows what that institution has done to his mother. He knows how his father treated his mother. And yet, as Harry said, it is his inheritance, meaning now he's drinking the Kool-Aid. William is drinking the Kool-Aid. Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for your comment. Okay, Tom Bradby. Tom Bradby has been a friend of both William and Harry. Tom Bradby has also suffered from depression in the past. And he's gone to both weddings. But now that he has been the start of Harry and Meghan, I would say that interview that he gave was like what really pushed things along because it was part of the African tour. And he was going along with an approved, well, he was invited along because there was an approval for a documentary documenting their time in Africa for their last, um, tour as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and being a part of official royal duty as senior royals. And so he was invited along. But when he saw the state of the Duchess of Sussex and when he, witnessed the general atmosphere, it revealed more than what the palace, what the royal family, what the institution anticipated. And that caused a lot of trouble for Tom Bradby because at some point William made that public declaration that he is no longer friends with Tom Bradby, and of course, I say that that's compares to some type of mafioso move. If you ask me, that sounds like it comes from some mafia don or something. Joan Garcia says, "Oh, that is for legs." Okay, Noreen Lovelock says, Baron, I watched Jeremy Vine's show today, and it was crazy listening to all of the negative feedback from people, especially when Black people is joining in agreement. I wonder if they heard Harry and Meghan. Really? I didn't see that, and usually there's little snippets of it on the Twitter, so I'm gonna have to try to catch that. I did hear I think it was from today. I think I heard like this one person saying that she wasn't going to read the book, but I didn't see any other parts of it. Usually, by the time they load, because I don't get it here, obviously. By the time they load some bits and pieces of it on the Twitter, I may see like I don't know, maybe four different people that call in or some exchange between the guests or whatever. So I haven't had a chance to dig up any of those, but thanks. I will definitely look for it. Okay, so I would like to have my father and brother back. Prince Harry insists it never needed to be this way, and royals say, I'm sorry, and say royals have shown no willingness to reconcile as he launches fresh attacks. Now, mind you, this language is from a tabloid and publicity blitz. Oh my God. Notice the language. They make it sound like it's war. Fresh attacks and publicity blitz. That is definitely for the baby boomers before his book Spare is released next week. Oh my God, those people. The Duke of Sussex has sat down with broadcaster Tom Bradby in the UK and Anderson Cooper in the United States, with trailers for each dropping today. And then over here on the right, it says Harry spoke to Tom Bradby in the UK and Anderson Cooper of CBS in the USA. Trailers dropped today in which Duke launches fresh attacks on the royals and the press. Um, I think they should mostly focus on the press and then the royals, not the royals and the press, but it's the press and the royals, because it is the press that are saying things that are being briefed from the royals. But we'll get to that part. Suggested royal family thought it is better to keep us somehow as the villains. So Harry said in that sample that we saw is that the royal family thought it was a good idea that Harry and Meghan remain the villains. Now, if my memory serves me, I could swear that I saw one of those documentaries some time ago where the Earl Spencer, Charles Spencer, said that when Diana was first, Lady Diana, when she first made the big news for being engaged to Charles, it was said that they approached him, and said that we are going to make you the wayward brother, the villain, the troublemaker. Now we could write this story with you, or we can write this story without you. Now I saw that on the documentary. I don't remember which one, but it was the Earl Spencer, Charles Spencer said that they told him exactly how he was going to fit into the storyline, how he would become part of the narrative where Princess Diana and her family was concerned. And of course, he used to get really terrible press. And that was before Diana died. That was before the tongue lashing that he gave to the Queen and the rest of the royal family. And now, all of a sudden, he doesn't get any bad press. He seems to have made up with the Queen and made up with the royal family. As a matter of fact, he's like the number one bootlicker as far as the aristocracy is concerned. He's never had it so good. So, all of that fire and brimstone that he was throwing out at the Princess Diana's funeral, I don't know where that guy is today. He seems to have, as the natives used to say, that the white man speak with forked tongue. He could have easily have been one of the original 13 colonists, because he definitely speaks with a forked tongue, and he definitely changes his alliances as time go by. So Prince Harry today claimed his family had shown no willingness to reconcile. He would like to have, and he said, I would like to have my father and brother back, and never complain, never explain is just a motto as he launches. Oh God, I'm not even going to finish that. So anyway, I am going to get to some more of your comments here. Let me see. Jacqueline Squash, the official chaplain of Royal Sussex. Hello, Baron and Squatty family. We are always praying for our Sussex family and Mom Doria. We know that the Almighty God is in control of everything and every situation. All things are working for they're good. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. And thank you. Happy New Year's. And thank you so much for your lovely prayers. Always appreciate it. Always need it. Always appreciate it. Gail Anita one says, if you listen to Harry, he said he wants his family back, his father and his brother back. He does not want the corrupt institution that hit different for me. That hit different for me. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it again. I mean, I'm sure that's exactly what I heard, but um I want to I have listened to it a few times today and I want to listen to it again and again because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. And of course, I mean it just makes sense. I didn't even think about him in the institution, but he wants his father and his brother back, but he does not want the institution. Thanks for stressing that because I wasn't really listening for it, but in so many words, that's exactly what he was saying. So thank you. I will definitely listen to it carefully again. All right. So, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. A lot of comments, you guys. Lots of comments. Mad World says the Queen has always sacrificed her loved ones if it benefits herself and country. Charles was raised to do the same because if they would have taken a stand, they would be at risk of losing it all. Yeah, that's about what it adds up to is that they are living in fear of the press. They fear the press. I mean, it doesn't seem logical. It's not as though they have a valid reason to be afraid. It's not like, but I guess if the press did make a strong case against them, it would risk the loss of the monarchy. And so I guess it's better, in their opinion, to sacrifice one of their own than to run the risk. And it would be a risk and, maybe it needs to go away. If this is the way the institution functions, then it needs to go away. You guys, there is so much support out there for Harry and Meghan. There is an incredible amount of support that seems to have literally come out of nowhere. And it's been since the documentary, the docuseries, since the docuseries, the amount of support, especially on TikTok. Oh my God, those kids on TikTok. It's like the haters cannot keep up with the young people on TikTok. And some of them are not so young people on TikTok, but they can't keep up. Carolyn Tubbs, thank you so much for 8 months membership. Just saw that. Yeah, thank you so much for your 8 months membership. Lex says, at what point in Baldy's life did he realize that I want to use my brother as a scapegoat? At what point did he say I am okay with the mental abuse? Legs, I'm going to say that if and when there was a particular point, I'm going to say it was probably during Harry and Meghan's courtship. I'm going to say it was during their courtship. I am going to assume, and I'm going to say, I'm going to allege that someone within Kensington Palace, a very close aide or aides, um, it started with a whispering campaign, and then it was given tacit approval by a senior royal, whoever that one may be. I guess you all have your your opinions. Um, and then, of course, the thing about the skin color, I believe that that comes from William because I can't think of anybody else that would be close enough to Harry to say something as jarring as that, something that would shake him to his core. And see, this is the thing that people are missing that feel they need to defend that institution is that it's not so much that it was said, it was who said it and the way they said it. And if it was said in a way to justify not giving the children a title, because how would that look for the family? Or if it was said in a way to remind you that your children will always be treated less than my own or other kids in the family. If it was said in that way, like, and even more sinister, like some harm may come to your children for whatever reason. Like I say, it all depends on how it was said. And especially if you are in a situation where you see that there is a person that is black or Asian or whatever, and everybody else in the institution comes from a very similar background, except for that black or Asian person or person of, I don't know, Native American heritage, or wherever you find someone has been othered. If you say things that will provoke negative feelings for that person, it's like the N word bothers me so much, because when I hear the N word is a threat, not necessarily from, other black people, although I don't like that either. But if I hear it from someone who is non black, then I feel threatened. I feel threatened by that. So, not to say that anyone in the institution used that word, but it's one of those things where even if they are explaining to me a conversation that was had, and they decide not to say N word, but they just say the word, my throat gets tight. It tightens my throat. I don't like it. And I feel threatened by it. And if someone is pointing out racial differences in a place where I'm a minority, I feel threatened by that. I feel like I'm being othered, and I feel like there's a great chance that I will not be fully respected. And Harry began to see the way people were treating him, as and in particular the way they were treating the Duchess of Sussex, the way people's body language changed, the way people's conversation would change, because they were so hung up on this idea that she's not like us. And not just because of her being an American, they could not get that African DNA out of their minds. They could not get that slave heritage out of their minds. She's inferior to us, and that's all to it. It doesn't matter if she's more intelligent than the rest of us. It doesn't matter that she's more accomplished than anybody else that ever married into that institution. What matters is she's just not one of us, and she cannot be trusted. And that was the sentiment from that institution day one, and it never ceased. It never ceased. That's why William said, I already have a nephew. When they asked him if he was excited about Archie, what did he say? I already have a nephew. I don't know that he's ever publicly said anything nice or even said Archie's name. Never. And he doesn't intend to. Miranda Rios, thank you so much for 12-month membership with Royal Sussex. 12 thrilling, exciting months, I hope. Thank you very much, and thank you for being here today. Legs, thank you so much for your super chat, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. All right. Oh my goodness. I guess everybody has a lot to say today. Um, I hope I haven't missed any super chats, but or super stickers. But is it KDV? Thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And happy New Year! Uh oh wow. I'm so sorry I gotta miss everything, but I'm gonna scroll all the way down to the absolute last. I'm so mad that Charles is trying to upstage Archie on his birthday. Why force Harry and Meghan to choose? Well, they can still, if they want to go to the coronation, it won't. I mean, it's a kid's birthday, and they can actually do both. They can go to the coronation and have the birthday either the day before, later that day. The coronation is obviously going to be during the day. I doubt if the Sussexes would go to any balls or gatherings or receptions or anything like that. But if they have the intention of going, then they could go. I don't think that that's an issue by itself. But the real issue is the purpose for calling the day Archie's birthday. Are you doing this to be spiteful? Are you trying to upstage Archie? And then also the bank holiday. They want to take away the bank holiday because the coronation is already costing so much. um, they could actually change the coronation to a different day of the week. But I don't think they intend to give a bank holiday. I don't think they intend for anybody to miss a day's work. They have missed a lot of productivity, a lot of work hours because of the mourning period with the Queen. And with people already complaining about the price of the coronation, it would it costs money to shut things down, especially if it's a holiday and people are receiving pay for that holiday. It costs a lot of money. So I'm pretty sure that they want. Well, let's see, what day is Archie's birthday? I believe it's either Saturday or Sunday. Well, whatever it is, they want to prevent the bank holiday. They could do it a week before, a week after, but yeah, it's such a big event. I struggle with the idea that they're only doing this to upstage a child's birthday, but they are petty, as we know, and it seems likely that that's exactly what's happening here. So you have a right to your feelings about that, but yeah, it's an act of pettiness, I think. Thank you so much for your comment. Pomerelle says, understand black women are to be played um, with not to be we're not to be married to. Um, he has never supposed is it supported? He has never supported her, to marry her. Oh, he was never supposed to marry her. I'm sorry. He was never supposed to marry her. Well, if you guys remember, William had okay. It was said, to be fair, I don't know that William said this for sure, but it was alleged that William said that Harry should wait and not rush into things. After all, I waited before I married Kate. It took him 10 years to marry Kate. Were you hoping that Harry would wait until things became, let's say, less likely that they would ever have children? Because that's what I get from that one. If William did say this, then of course, knowing that Megan at the time was what, 36 years old, 36 is considered what, a geriatric pregnancy. Were you hoping that he would wait until they were, in their 40s to get married so that there would be less likely the chance that they would have children? If he said that, I think that's exactly the reason why he would have said that. He probably did the math and was probably thinking, well, you know what? If they do wait as long as I waited with Kate, and of course, we have learned a lot more about waiting for Kate, Waity Katie. William, we all know how William felt about her, and we know that he didn't feel a lot for her. But between Kate and her mother, they wore him down. And so they said that when William broke up with Kate. He broke up with her, allegedly, because he was sending a signal to other aristocratic women, hey, I'm available. I'm not really so keen to marry Kate. So if you all are interested in becoming the Princess of Wales and wearing my mother's jinxed um, engagement ring, then I'm free for anybody who's interested. And guess what? Nobody was interested. He never, that I know of, dated any aristocratic women. Nobody wanted him. Nobody with any aristocratic family ties, anyone with a title, any titled families, nobody wanted him. And so all he had left was Jazz Hands. And Jazz Hands is in the position she's in right now because there were no other people who were interested, no other women interested, no other families that wanted to put their daughters through that system. I am convinced of that. I am convinced of it. Thank you so much, Pomerose, for your super chat, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Damaged goods. Damaged goods. Nobody wanted William. Nobody. Super sticker from Lottie. Thank you so much, Lottie, and thank you so much for being here. And as always, thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And who else do we have here? Is it Travel Camo? Thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And Happy New Year to you. I just don't think anybody else was interested in William. I really don't. And it made so much sense. Someone said some time ago that William broke up with Kate because he was hoping that something else would develop. And just think about it. He went to school with all of those upper class people, and he never had a serious relationship with any of them. It was only Kate that hung around wearing her transparent dress that he ended up with. So it says a lot. It says a lot. Oh, Joseph Burnell says the Sussexes will be criticized if they attend the coronation, criticized if they miss it. It makes no difference. They will be criticized regardless. Yeah, it doesn't matter, Joseph. It really doesn't matter. Um, like I said, it is somewhat insulting to announce it on Archie's birthday. However, keeping it in perspective, it's a kid's birthday. They could do it before or after, the day before, after. If Harry is keen on going to the coronation, if they're invited to go, we have to respect that. No matter what the date is, that is still his family. If he wants to have a relationship with his father, well, that's his father, and it's hard. It's hard to accept that, but I often say we can never or should never be more angry than the people that are the subject of the conversation. And Harry and Meghan are the subject of the conversation. Respect their decision. So if they decide that they don't want to go, I respect that. Just like if tomorrow they say, never call us the Duke and Duchess of Sussex again, then that's where I'm going to go with it. But they, as recently as this production, they were the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So that's where I'm going to stay. So whatever they want to do. Now, they haven't put a foot wrong since they left the UK. Not one time. Everything. Do you guys know that this is what, 3 years to the day? Is it 2 years? 2 years to the day that they stepped back from official royal duty, that they made that announcement? I think it's been, is it 3 years? 2 years. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little post nasal drip. Something is setting off my allergies, and I know not what. But yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna respect what they want. I'm gonna trust them to sort this out. They had a plan when they left that institution. They have stuck to that plan, and it has not served them wrong in the least bit. I just spoke about that yesterday. They had a plan, they stuck to that plan, and it's working out for them. So if that is the case, trust the process. Let them sort this out. Harry knows what he's doing. That is his family. Um, they have a partnership. They have an agreement. Let's take a look at it again. Thank you so much, Joseph Bruno. It says right here, exactly. They laid out their plan for working with the media, and it appears they have followed it to the letter. And look at where they are right now. And then, of course, how will the Duke and Duchess of Sussex handle media relations in the future? Blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. No longer participate in the Royal Rotor system. It's working. People have taken notice of the information that has been provided by the docuseries. Okay, the Oprah Winfrey interview that was viciously attacked, and it didn't go exactly as planned. However, it was the start of things. Now you got what 2 years later, you have the docuseries, and people can go back and reference that again and again and again. It's working. So just trust and believe. I do. I'm going to trust and believe. But thank you so much for your comment. All right. So, all right. Bertha Stevens, maybe, maybe. I mean, I guess it depends on the level of trust that he has with Tom. Oh, that's not for me. William and Kate never wanted Prince Harry to marry anyone. William needs Prince Harry as his scapegoat, and Kate wants Prince Harry for her spare in British. Is it British media? Thank you so much, Donna Black. Let me see. I think William started to betray his little brother sooner. Remember the the documentary about Diana, and Harry said, "I thought my big brother was going to protect me, but you ignored me." Yes, when they went to school, I believe was the situation where he said that he thought his brother would look out for him, and instead his brother ignored him. Yep, that's basically what he said. What is that? Permission to be bad for a moment? How anyone could look at bullying and would want that no rhythm, baldy, upside down, triangle, egghead, horrid person on the inside is unfathomable. Thank you, light side of the moon. But that, yeah, why would they? Where's the interest in that? Why would anyone be interested? Let me see. Hazel Jones says the nobility didn't want their daughters to marry into that family for years. Even Lord Mountbatten's granddaughter refused Charles. Really? I didn't know that. The Duchess of Kent is the last noble daughter to marry Anne. The Duchess of Kent. So the one married to the Duke of Kent, the Duchess of Kent. Is that right? Well, I mean, Diana comes from a noble family. So, right? So I think Diana would be the last. Um, right? I think Diana would be the last, not the Duchess of Kent. How long has the Duke and Duchess of Kent been married? Well, okay. Maybe you know better, but I mean, Lady Diana, that is a title. Her father, the Earl Spencer. So I thought Diana was from the nobility. But yeah, okay, maybe I got that wrong. Let's see. Deidre Meinke, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you so much for watching today. And as always, thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Audrey Teschner says steroids is kicking in now. Good night, family. Good night, Audrey Teschner. Thank you so much for being here. Audrey, you're in South Africa, right? I need to put that on my phone so I can see what time it is there. But yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for being here. And as always, thank you for supporting Royal Sussex. Okay, Shelly L says all the other women were like, who's single? Oh, hell no. Who's that social climber with the weird tick and does that strange thing with her hands? Kate. Yeah, she can't have all of that. Yeah, she can have all of that. Nobody else was interested. Thank you so much, Shelly L. Nobody else was interested. Okay, so the Duke of Sussex sat down with ITV presenter Tom Bradby in the UK, CBS News Anderson Cooper in the US before the release of Spare next week, with short previews of each dropping today. Speaking to ITV News host Tom Bradby in a clip where no questions can be heard, Harry says it never needed to be this way. It never needed to be this way, and refers to the leaking and planting before adding, I want a family, not an institution. Oh, well, yeah, he said it. He said it very clearly. I don't know why. You know what? I'm not sure I actually heard that the first time around, but I want a family, not an institution. He also says they feel as though it is better to keep us somehow as the villain. Now, I did hear that clearly, and that they have shown absolutely no willingness to reconcile, although it is unclear who he refers to. Oh, I just almost. I just almost dropped the F bomb. Y'all know who he's talking about. who the who the frappuccino he's talking about. I almost let loose a F bomb. Y'all know who he talking about, although it's not clear. You know who he talking about. Oh, oh, let me drink some water. Never mind. But listen, y'all, just cuss in your head right now. Don't cuss out loud. Just cuss in your head. Y'all know who he talking about. Okay? Don't play dumb. Y'all know who he talking about. Oh boy, I tell you, they really push you, don't they? Oh, let me see. Oh, is it that late in South Africa? Okay. Thank you so much, Annie Bennett. But y'all know who he talking about. So, Tom Bradby at the Cambridge wedding on the left, Tom Bradby at the Sussex wedding on the right. And again, you can see how he, as a journalist, is still so connected to, he was connected to both brothers. Now, this is the famous Nobody Else Has Asked Me. Uh, Megan was deeply upset and feeling quite emotional during that interview. Now, she was not prepared, but he could see that she was upset. And being the gentleman that he is, he asked her, how are you doing? Are you okay? And she responded in kind, um, thank you, that no one else has asked me. The eyes, the eyes says it. She was upset. And he was there for her. He asked the right question at the right time. However, the time could never be right as far as William is concerned. So that was enough to send a message to William. This is the moment. that moment with Megan is the reason why William turned against Tom Bradby, because Tom gave her a voice. She didn't even say much. And all she said was, "Thank you. No one else has asked me." But exposing her vulnerability like that, exposing a black woman's vulnerability against the weight of an institution that seems to be the standard bearer for white supremacy, that was enough to upset Tom Bradby. Yeah, she was about to cry. She was about to cry, and he couldn't take it that her vulnerability was exposed for the whole nation to see. All that she was holding in and day out, all of the mask that both of them had to wear through the entire ordeal. And as Harry said, "I let my family down." He said, "I was so busy maintaining the face that the institution expected of me that I didn't actually protect my family." And he said, "I could never forgive myself for that." And I don't blame him. I mean, that's how he was conditioned. He was conditioned to perform. The royal family is trained like they're marionettes, like they're puppets. They are conditioned to perform, and they train their children to perform, which is why it is so upsetting looking at the Cambridge kids, because they are already being put forth to perform. And Harry just did not want that generational pain transferred to his children. He wants to end the generational pain. Full stop. End it. Now he's asked politely for his father to, whatever he's asked politely, whatever conversations that they've had. And it seems as though nobody's listening or nobody is budging. And so they have no choice but to express themselves through the media. If you're briefing against us through the mass media, at the very least, we can respond. They have 24-hour blanket coverage from the institution. But the Sussexes, the few times they speak, it seems to become a blitz, incendiary, another truth bomb, and any other of those little negative tropes that they use to describe the Sussexes defending themselves or using their voice to explain themselves. Okay, where was I here? Okay, thank you so much, Gwendolyn Daniels. And Baron, wasn't this the trip that Archie thankfully wasn't in the room that had the fire? I could see how upset Megan would be on that trip. Yes, because what did they tell her? Don't mention it. Show up on time, don't mention it. And then leave your child behind and go out and do some more official duty. You can't miss an appointment. You can't miss an hour. You can't miss a day. Get back out there. And of course, no consideration for the fact that Archie is the royal child whose life is threatened. Not the Cambridge kids, not any of the other kids, but there are people who have referred to Harry as a race traitor. There is a person who actually compared the the newly born Archie to a primate. In other words, not even human. But in spite of all of that, they tell her, leave your child behind, even though he was nearly killed yesterday or today or whenever, and go back out there and don't say anything about it. You're not allowed to talk about it. And like a good sailor, they both went along. They both went along. They both went out there and performed their duties like any other member of the royal family, except they are the ones that have a mountain of threats against them. And then, too, Sherry, if I could remind people that they criticize the Range Rovers, the armored Range Rovers that were sent to South Africa. They criticized that even though it wasn't costing the public anything. Range Rover wanted to promote their vehicles for executive use, their armored vehicles. So they were the ones who paid to send those vehicles to South Africa. But the press still complained about it. There was nothing they could do right. And then, as you say, the child was nearly killed. At least I'm being very dramatic when I say that, but it is true. The child was nearly killed. Archie was just removed from a room that filled with toxic smoke. And fortunately, the the nanny, the babysitter nanny, she had the presence of mind to say, "You know what? You're coming with me." And had she not done that, who knows what would have happened? He might still be afflicted with lung problems today or worse. Oh man, you guys, this is a very deep day. I was like so excited about the fact that the interviews are coming, but it seems to have dredged up a lot. So, and that's a good thing. I mean, we need to get this out. Maybe it's because it's a small what is that, princely state that's not significant, but Liechtenstein, they don't seem to treat Princess Angela the way Meghan has been treated. Uh, Thank you, Ruby K, for that. Well, yeah, the British royal family, like I say, they're performers and they are expected to perform. The people in Liechtenstein, they're not paying this humongous sum of money to maintain a royal family. Now, it is they do have a sovereign. They do have the prince, the crown prince, his serene highness, and so on and forth. They do have that, and the family is extremely wealthy because this little 65 square mile country got involved with international banking. They have very few natural resources, but they are, you know, flushed with cash. They are extremely wealthy and successful. So they just celebrated, I think, the 100th birthday of the Bank of Liechtenstein. Very successful country. So without natural resources, they managed to, put themselves on a map as a powerhouse when it comes to quality of life and such. And so when Princess Angela, when she married into the family and became Princess Angela, the lead was taken by the Prince Max's father. Is it Alois? I think it's Alois. He took the lead. He and his wife that just died last year, they both threw their support behind their son without hesitation, even though some people in the family said, "Oh, this is the beginning of the end." They were very supportive. They don't have a malicious press that goes after, and even the press in Austria. I mean, I don't know what the situation is there, but Austria, Liechtenstein, both countries are so intertwined. Liechtenstein doesn't even have a prison. They farm out their airport, their prisons, and everything else. They do everything through Austria, and I don't know how the press has treated Princess Angela in Liechtenstein or Austria, but I guarantee you There's nothing like this. It's something that I think is so unique to the British royal family because they need to be relevant in order to exist. And in order to exist, they have to sacrifice their own. And in this case, they decided to sacrifice Harry and Meghan. And that's how that happens. But thank you so much, Ruby. Let's see. Is that is with smile? Is W smile? Okay. Let's see. Some of the news media are making money off of telling lies about the Sussexes. They should be able to make money from their truth. Yes, yes. Thank you so much for the super chat. Yes, absolutely. Like my example about the Oprah magazine. If you're gonna put me on a magazine and make money from telling those lies about me, then at the very least, I can make a magazine that uplifts other people and tells my truth. And that's what happened. And the magazine was very successful. So dare I say, I wonder if there was a Meghan and Harry lifestyle magazine like the O magazine, dare I say it would probably be incredibly successful. The Tig was successful, and that was about lifestyle. So who knows? Maybe in the future there will be a magazine called M M Magazine. Who knows? I hope there is, or the Tig Magazine. Yeah, I hope so. Thank you so much for your super chat, and thank you for watching. Okay, and so there you have it. There's William who declared publicly that I am no longer friends with Tom Bradby, and he didn't specify why, but he just said they were not friends. But people say it was because of that moment with Meghan. Also, I insist that a situation where a very powerful person is punching down at people, and that really is punching down. You are the future king. What is it like? What does it do for your career that the future king, the future sovereign, declares publicly that you're not friends? That is just like a big mafia move. That's just like waking up one day with a horse head in your bed. I mean, you wake up one day and wipe the sleep out your eye, wipe the crust out the corner of your mouth, and you look down and there's a big horse head in your bed. There's a big horse head in your bed. A big horse head. You look down and there's National Velvet. You roll over and there's Smarty Jones. You know what I'm saying? You step out the bed, your foot is feeling around for your slippers, and there's Seabiscuit. It's not fair. It's not fair to punch down like that. Who wants to wake up with a horse head in their bed? That's just not fair. So, oh man, I was doing so good until I got to that point, but I couldn't help myself. I mean, you wake up in the morning, all you thinking about is, okay, I got to get my day started. And you roll over, and there's a horse in your bed. A horse's head. That's like somebody nailing a dead fish to your door, or chicken feet, or any of that other stuff. Could you imagine if you step outside and there's a dead fish on your stoop? It's not fair. But he did that. And that just goes to show how unhinged he is and unworthy, unsuitable for the throne. He really is unsuitable. Absolutely. People think that Charles is unsuitable. Wait until people get to learn about William. Wait until they get to know the real William. That is going to be trouble for the institution, is when they figure out who William is. Tom Bradby, who is a very well respected journalist who has had his bouts of mental illness and who has been deliberately singled out by the future sovereign as untrustworthy or unreliable or whatever he was trying to say by saying that he is no longer friends with him by I would say virtually putting a horse head in his bed. um that's unforgivable, and he doesn't deserve to be king. Let me see here. Give me 1 second, you guys. Okay, I'm back. I had to bust a move. All right. So, before I go on to Steve Schmidt, let me take a look at any of your last comments about that. Hi, Silver. Away. Okay. Let me see. William has mental issues that have never been dealt with because they want the public to think he's perfect, and no one is perfect, but some of the British public are very stupid. Okay, and let's stress some. But of course, in general, most people in the United Kingdom are either very supportive of the Sussexes or have no opinion whatsoever. Um, just to be fair. But yeah, I think that there are some sycophants, and I mean the royal family, the royalists are really cultists. It's a cult. It's a cult of personalities. It's the cult that says because someone has been around for 70 years, when the queen died, and I'm sorry if you're listening, Harry, I really doubt that you are. I'm sorry if you're listening, but if your biggest achievement is that you've been on the throne for 70 years and that people have to struggle to find something nice to say about you when you die, what does that say? I mean, people struggled. I watched the coverage, the endless coverage of the Queen for days. I did. I watched. And I was waiting for somebody to say of this life changing thing that she's done for someone, or the day that she intervened to help someone. Not that she showed up and showed her support by being there, which there didn't seem to be a lot of those that truly mattered. But where's the beef? Where's the beef? Now, okay, it is something admirable about pledging your life at a young age, be it long or be it short. That whole thing, our imperial family. There's something admirable about the fact that she did that and that she maintained that for 70 years. But you have to also look at the other reality of it is that couldn't any of us have done as much as Stacey Solomon said?
Just don't get it. I don't get any of it.
What do you mean? You don't get what?
I don't get why we're so obsessed with these humans that are exactly the same. Like, it could be us four sitting there. I just don't get it.
But are you talking about what you mean as royals or as, like, Kim Kardashian? Because for me, they're becoming celebrities.
Well, yeah, to me, that's all they are.
The Queen
is their celebrity.
For me, is
I love
brilliant.
the Queen.
I love
the Queen.
No, duty, responsibility.
She's always
figurehead.
worked really hard,
But
hasn't
I would
she?
work hard if the whole country paid for me to have, like, 12 houses and work really hard.
No, they don't.
Paid for me to have, like, 12... whole country paid for me to have, like, 12 houses and work really hard.
No, they don't.
If the whole country paid for me to have, like, 12 houses and if the whole country paid for me to have, like, 12 houses and work really hard.
No, they don't pay for all of the houses. But
just a few.
Love the
what?
Queen.
No,
For duty, responsibility.
She's always
figurehead.
worked really hard,
But
hasn't
I
she?
would work hard if the whole country paid for me to have like 12 houses and work really hard.
They don't pay for all of the houses. But
Just a few.
I would work hard too. If the whole country paid for me and gave me like 12 houses to live in, I would work hard too. Yes, who wouldn't work hard under those circumstances? So again, no disrespect to the Queen. You know, I'm trying to be respectful of Harry's grandmama, but if I was in a situation where people paid me a whole lot of money and gave me 12 houses to live in, I'd work hard too. I'd keep my mouth shut. I wouldn't have an opinion. You know, if you let me inherit $1 billion fortune, if you say that I'm the sovereign and I can't be arrested, I don't even need a passport or a driver's license. I'm the Queen. Well, of course, I'd work hard too. You wouldn't get a nasty word out of me with a deal like that. So if that is what helps you stay on the throne for 70 years, I want in on that too. So okay, so she's done that. And yes, it takes a lot to not say anything. A lot, because Charles pretty much has the same deal and he couldn't shut up. He just wouldn't stop talking. Charles talked and 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 talked till he almost talked himself off the throne before he even got there. So, but then again, the Queen didn't have to sit around for 70 years with nothing to do, because for 70 years she was in charge. So if Charles did have a lot of missteps, it's no wonder, because he had nothing to do. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get any of it. Why we have to look at these humans that could be us for sitting. That could be us for sitting up there. Well, I would work hard too if you gave me like 12 houses and paid me a lot of money. I'd work hard too. I mean, in its simplicity, it said everything. She said everything. Yes, these humans. Yes, she said everything. These humans. I mean, that just put it in perspective. I could never hear that enough. It's not the houses, it's the tax implications of inheritance and the vast real estate these people own. Yeah, they don't pay any taxes. The Queen volunteered to pay a tax, and I don't think anybody knows what she volunteered to pay. And that was only after she got called out. I mean, Mama saw the writing on the wall and was like, well, I could pay something. I mean, after all, they just repaired a castle. People even asked, how come there was no insurance? Which, by the way, if you guys are new to all of this stuff, Windsor Castle, when it burned in 1992, the year of the horrible anus, there was no insurance on Windsor Castle. There was no insurance. And so when the castle burned, it was up to the taxpayers to pay for it. Now, let me remind you guys about something. When Windsor Castle burned and the taxpayers had to pay for it, there was a chapel that was either rebuilt, or actually, I believe Philip insists that the chapel needed to be styled in another way that was different from the original. But anyway, these spaces that are not meant for the public, at the cost of millions of dollars, were refurbished, and some parts of the refurbishment are not staterooms, they're not public rooms. So that means that the public can't even pay to see parts of this castle that was rebuilt at the cost of the public. And the only compelling argument that they have to keep the institution just as it is because the queen did her duty for 70 years and then she died. And I'm still waiting to see the value per dollar or per pound for the cost of maintaining the monarchy. Because if it's tourism, I insist that there are more tourists annually that go to Paris than the United Kingdom. There are more tourists annually that go to Versailles than all the royal residents combined. Annually. I mean, check it out. Paris, London, every year the numbers go back and forth. There's a handful more in London, there's a handful more in Paris, but neither of them get more than the other. It pretty much averages out over time. And there's no royal family in Paris. There's no royal family, but I paid good money to go to Versailles. I paid good money to go to Paris. I enjoyed all the history of the Bourbons and all of that stuff. I got a kick out of it, no different than I did than when I went to the UK. I went to the Schönbrunn in Austria. I went to their royal summer residence, the Schönbrunn Palace. I paid money to go inside of that place. They don't have a royal family, but it didn't dampen the experience. I enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed seeing Windsor Castle. So, what's the difference? What is the difference? So, the idea that the royal family helps with tourism, it just doesn't balance out. There are good studies that show you're not getting the value for the money. It just doesn't. I mean, it's an interesting institution and all of the pomp and circumstance and everything, but you're not getting the value for the money. You're just not. So if you're a royalist and you're listening to this, I'm sure you beg to differ, but you're not making money because the of the royal family. It doesn't pay off. As a matter of fact, there is a period of inflation and austerity that hasn't really been seen since the Second World War or the post-war days, and yet there's all this money to pay for the coronation. Make that make sense? Okay. Let me see. You went to the boom boom room. You say, well, I mean, it depends on what you mean by that. Let me see here. Let me see. Donna Black says, I will not give Charles the respect of calling him king. Prince Harry is more of a king than him, and Baldy will never be. I mean, than Baldy will ever be. I understand that. I respect that. I do. I understand. Okay. Yes, they do have insurance. It's called Suckers Taxpayers Insurance. The taxpayers paid up. They did. The taxpayers had to foot the bill for Windsor Castle as it burned. Okay, so let's get to Steve Schmidt. Steve Schmidt, the British media and the royal correspondents are in the access business. The royal family and the British media are codependent institutions. That is Harry and Meghan's fundamental point. They always draw the low card in the shuffle. By the way, the palace and what is that? Okay. But yeah, so betrayal is the core of Harry and Meghan's story. But the betrayals belong to the royal family who wouldn't defend them, as well as the grotesque Thomas Markle, Meghan's father, who sold his daughter out for 30 pieces of silver to the British press. What a coincidence, because that image of Thomas Markle that I put together, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but there was 30 pieces of silver near his feet. Um, that was a little something that I added, the 30 pieces of silver. So Steve Schmidt and I seem to be on the same page where that's concerned. So, okay. Uh-oh. Let me see what happened to it. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so this was in The Warning. There's an online magazine called The Warning, and Steve Schmidt wrote an article in The Warning this morning, or submitted an article. It says perhaps it's best to begin with a comparison of character between two men who have both been under fire. The first man responded like this. Piers Morgan walked off the set of his own, now former, show because his outrageous vindictiveness and cruelty was called out by a colleague, meaning, of course, Alex Beresford. It was an act of cowardice by a corrupt media figure. Ooh, I love Steve Schmidt, who has become a quasi stalker in his relentless smearing of the Duchess of Sussex because she ghosted him after a single meeting. He was offended by the fact that he was not invited to their royal wedding along with A-listers like Oprah Winfrey. The result has been a spasm of the cruelty and smearing that has lasted years. Much of the smearing is projected. The narcissistic Morgan, the narcissistic Morgan called Meghan Markle a narcissist. Morgan, who failed as a broadcaster in America, calls Markle, who is make it here. Let me see, who did make it here, a B-lister, and on it goes. Perhaps it is a case that the monarchy is indeed so rotten, out of touch, and corrupted that it requires the defense of such a loathsome figure who thirsts for attention with cruelty. Wow. I mean, did he call out Piers Morgan or what? The second man did not have a lot of options in his life. He was born the son and brother of men who would be king. He was the spare, literally. His mother was chased to death and killed by the media. Her phones were hacked by men like Morgan. She was tormented by the institution that rejected her individuality and spirit. She was conned and manipulated by the BBC. He walked behind her casket at age 12 in front of the global television audience of billions. He is a combat veteran. He served multiple combat tours in the British Army. He served with valor and distinction. He served American lives. He saved American lives, and there is not one word of on the record criticism for a single individual with whom he served ever. Prince Harry was respected by the men he led. He did not flinch. He did not run. He fought. He fought for his wife. And that is, in the end, is what the story of Harry and Meghan is about. So, anyway, it's a really good article. I will make sure that I link it to let me see here. Matter of fact, I am going to link it in the let me do this. I got this. I am going to link it in the comment section. I'm sorry, on the community tab. So let me do that right now before I forget. Community, Steve Schmidt. There we go. Oh, let me see. I want to see if I can put a picture of him there so you guys know exactly which article this is. I love the way he called out Piers Morgan, though. I am going to build a shrine to him later. Oh, you know what? Let me just post this and see if I could do it without the photo, and see if it. Okay, post. Huh? Nope, it doesn't work like that. But don't worry, you guys. I will definitely take care of it. Well, delete. Let me try that again. I want to put his image there so you guys can make sure that you see it. Give me just a second. Huh, got it. All right. Post. There it is. So it's in the community tab. Rather crudely so, but it's there. All right. So thank you, Steve Schmidt. Thank you for saying what other people were thinking. So, and then here's another article. This one is on this day, Prince Harry pulled from Afghanistan. Prince Harry was sent home from military service in Afghanistan after a magazine revealed his presence in a war zone. So this comes from UPI magazine. I guess it's an online magazine. Never heard of it before. British Prince Harry takes part in an exercise with the United States military cadets on a firing range at the United States Military Academy in West Point, New York, on the 25th, 2010, June 25th, 2010. And on January 2nd, 2011, Prince Harry was sent home from military service in Afghanistan after a magazine revealed his presence in the war zone. Leak, leak, leak. This is why he couldn't go any further in his military service, because they leaked. It was a leak. Okay. Exactly 50 years after the first entry in the European Union, a nearly 2/3 majority of citizens in the UK wants a new referendum to rejoin. Have you guys heard that? That was a report in the Independent today. As I have been arguing against the Brexit, because, a lot of people said it was wrong. Even Obama tried to warn the prime minister at the time, you'll be sorry. Nobody was listening. They were listening to Nigel Farage. They were listening to Boris Johnson. The Tories wanted out of the European Union. By leaving the European Union, there'll be more money for the NHS and less brown people. That was the big selling point. And then the day after the referendum, one of the most searched things on the interweb was, what is Brexit? And that was in the UK, not other places, but the most searched thing the day after the referendum, the day that they took their country back, the most searched thing was, what is Brexit? You want to know what Brexit is? Brexit is something that Scotland doesn't want, Wales doesn't want, and Northern Ireland definitely wants to get back into the European Union. The only people that really wanted it were, people who thought that there were too many brown people in the United Kingdom. And if we can prevent the flow of humans from coming into this country that don't look like us, and if we can stop, sending money to the European Union, we can use that money right here in England, in the United Kingdom, for the NHS. We'll be able to get quicker service. Well, none of that happened. None of that happened, and the problems persist. So it was a huge, huge mistake, and a lot of people want out of it. But in spite of all of the austerity measures that's taking place, guess who wants to be king so much that he doesn't care how much it costs? He wants to have his coronation, and they can't find any extra money to pay the nurses or the rail workers or anybody else for that matter. Huge, huge mistake. So there you have it. 2/3 of the people want to go back to the European Union. It was so awful that 2/3 want to go back. Isn't that something? You really can starve people into submission, can't you? They want to go back into the European Union. It's the working class people that are suffering, not the tops, not the wealthy, not the well to do, certainly not the aristocratic ruling class. It is the common working people that are suffering because of the Brexit. Okay, right here. Kate's most expensive fashion year yet. Princess of Wales wore a record £176,000, $664 worth of new clothes. Now, this article was obviously a mistake because at a time when the royal family seems to be under siege because of this coronation, how dare they release these figures? Who dare they? The tabloids, the people that's supposed to lift them up, are tearing them down. As a matter of fact, one of the squatties, who I don't want to name, says, I think instead of Britons worrying about Harry and Meghan, they should try worrying about why they've had 4 different prime ministers with no election, and their it should be cost of living crisis is skyrocketing while Kensington royal family are living high off the hog. Brexit broke Britain. Hashtag Brexit broke Britain. And here's an example: £100 million for the royals. Rein it in. Now that came from the Mirror. Cost of palace living crisis. £100 million for the royal family. Record payout for the firm from taxpayers as nation feels pinch. Wow. And I don't think that's a new article. I can't see the date on it, but I don't think it's new. And then here you have, of course, Kate Middleton's fabulous wardrobe again. And then, of course, defend Meghan Markle. Commonwealth urged to speak out against British press attacks on the Duchess of Sussex. This was in Jamaica's Observer. Respected British Jamaican writer and poet Dr. Velma McClymont, am I saying that right? McClymont is calling on members of the Commonwealth Caribbean to defend the biracial Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, against outright racist attacks being meted out. Is it meted? Being okay. I don't get that one. Out to her in some sections of the British media. Being meted. I don't know. Is that like a Jamaican thing? I don't know. Thank you, Sharon Young, for becoming a new member. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Memberships are still a bargain at just $4.99. Thank you. And then there's this guy right here, Owen Jones. I don't know if you guys are hip to him, but Owen Jones, he has appeared on Jeremy Vine. He has appeared on some other places like Navarra Media. And he says right here, Meghan Markle's horrifying revelations reveal that Britain's figurehead institution is unaccountable, secretive, riddled with racism, and vengefully intolerant of anyone perceived to cross it. Now, this young man, I mean, he seems like he's just out of high school, and maybe he is, but he is an absolute brilliant journalist and commentator. and I have followed him for quite some times. Let's see here. I'll give you a little sample of Owen.
Meghan Markle's interview has exposed the monarchy for what it is: shadowy, unaccountable, riddled with racism, and completely intolerant of anyone who they have deemed has crossed them. Ever since she's married into the royal family, she has received widespread vilification from the British media, including media outlets attacking her for doing the exact same things as the Duchess of Cambridge, Kate, has done, being briefed against by the royal family, including false claims she made Kate cry when it was the other way round, of a senior royal questioning how dark the skin would be of her child, of not getting support when she was driven to the verge of suicide because of the atmosphere of racist hostility within the royal household. What does it say about an institution which drives a woman to the brink of suicide because of the colour of her skin, which pursues a relentless vendetta against her, whilst another royal, Prince Andrew, who had links with one of the most notorious paedophiles on the face of the earth, close links, he is protected, he is honoured, he remains tightly within the royal fold.
Okay, so that's just a sample. I will also link this on the community tab. I'm going to do that right now. Oh wait. There we go. And okay, and I'm going to put his name on it. Owen Jones. Oh, you guys, there is a lot of support out there for the Sussexes. Needless to say, there is a lot of support, but there's so much work that still needs to be done. So give it some time. This next round of interviews, and of course, combine that with the with the what I'm looking for. Oh, the docu-series. It should be a pretty good year for the Sussexes. I'm just so sure of that. Okay, and then right here, oh, you know what? That should have been, where is that at? That should have been in between here, and now there it is. So McClellan stressed that it is time for the Caribbean leaders, especially the esteemed Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, to speak out against the blatant attacks on a woman of African descent. She pointed out, on the other hand, however, that when a crime is committed against Jewish or Asian community, the royal family and the police are quick to denounce and perpetrators, the perpetrators, that is, and to send sincere messages of condolences and reassurance to the victims and the community affected. So those are just two different parts of the article, which I will also link in the community tab. And again, it is from the Jamaica Observer. So as I said, there is a lot of support. People are listening to the Sussexes, and there are a lot of people on the TikTok and other places on social media that is calling out the institution, calling out the tabloid media. Okay, I just feel like there is the tide is changing, that the winds are blowing of change, and that things are happening at a much faster pace, and that the Sussexes at some point will be able to relax a little bit more and do their philanthropy and charity without the constant digs from the tabloid press. At least that's what I hope. So keep prayerful about it, keep positive, and keep throwing your support out there. Also, don't forget to go on the YouTube and rate the what is that? Lead to love, love to lead, lead to what is it? Lead, love lead. What is the name of it? The latest documentary, Harry and Meghan presents Lead to Love, Love Leadership, Lead, Live to Lead, Lead to Live, Live to Lead. Anyway, make sure you support that one. Make sure you support it. Anything that you can rate is important that you do that, because if you don't, trust me, the derangers, the haters, they will do it for you, but they're not going to give a positive rating. They are going to give them a negative rating, and that is something that we need to offset as often as possible. Just like they used to vote back in the days of Kennedy and Nixon. Vote early, vote often, vote often, vote early. So that's what we need to do. And with that, you guys, I am done. Happy 2022. The Spare comes out on the 10th. So I've already ordered my hardcover, but I'm going to order the, what do you call it? The audio. And I'm also going to order the one for the Kindle or whatever. I'm going to order all of those. So every place I can order it, that's what I intend to do. Yep, that is what I intend to do. I'm going to throw all my support behind it. Yes, thank you so much, Sherry Ware. Greatly appreciate it.
Sometimes at the cost of their own lives, by enshrining our great struggles for democracy by having an elected figurehead who we choose, who is accountable to all of us, and who can tell the world that this country is a genuine democracy where all citizens are treated as equal.
I love that kid. That's Owen Jones. I mean, he's just like yelling it from the mountaintop. Okay, so what am I doing here? I need to find the list. That's what I need. I need the list. The list. All right. So thank you very much to Shelly L., Elaine Parker, Archie Teschner, Carolyn Tubbs for your 8 months membership. Legs, thank you. And also thanks to Katie with a K and Miranda Rios for 12 months membership. Pomerose, thank you. Lottie, thanks. Travel Camo, thank you. And Deirdre Meinke, Audrey Teschner, is W Smiles, and Sharon Young, thank you for your new membership. And also thank you, mysterious person who sent a Cash App, I think. Yes, I think there is a new Cash App. Yes, thank you very much for the Cash App. Okay. Yes, thank you very much. All right, you guys, thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Keep positive. It is getting better. I promise. At least I hope so. But it is getting better. Everything is getting so much better. It's just not that wall of silence, that veneer that the royal family has been able to maintain, that they are fair and impartial, and that the tabloids have been able to have the last word day after day after day. There's a lot riding on these next two interviews because it is going to help promote the book, even though the book is already a bestseller. But, you know, I don't care. I still want more and more people to get engaged or get in touch with this book, because the media is doing the best that they can to try to downplay the book, to speak against it, but we won't give them the benefit, right? Right. All right. So thank you again, everyone. And I will see you all tomorrow. May start late tomorrow because I have some errands in the morning, but we'll see. If not, I'll probably come in at about 4-ish, but we'll see how it goes. All right. So thanks. And as usual, we must have the last word of the day. Oh, thank you, Miss Wise Senior. Yes, please hit that like button. You're welcome, Connie Balmer. All right, last word of the day. Have a great day, y'all. Smooches. Thank you, Church Nelly. And all right, and thank you, our queens, for the amazing children that you guys have brought to the world. Oh, there they are right there, that you brought to this world. Without you guys, our queen of hearts and our queen of everything, there would be no Harry and Meghan. But you guys have instilled so much grace and dignity into these two that the world will never be the same again. So thank you to our queens. And from there, we're going to go to the Ginger Avenger. Actually, yeah, we'll do Ginger Avenger. Oh, that's not it, is it? Nope. Oh, there we go.
Prince Harry is a young man who has grown up not just with good looks and also royal privileges. It would have been easy for him to choose a life of ease and leisure. Instead, he chose a more difficult path. And by so doing, he has become an example to millions of others. It is a path that fully embraces the noblest traditions of service to his country and to his fellow human beings. On the one hand, Prince Harry has bravely followed the tradition of generations of British royals before him by serving his country in the military. He has been an Army officer in the British Army since 2006 and deployed with the Household Cavalry Regiment Battle Group to Helmand Province in 2008. During his time there, he served in the front lines, directing British and American aircraft onto enemy targets. He has shown that he knows what it means to lead by example, even when it means possibly paying the ultimate price.